In the ancient empire of Babylon, among the grandest cities the world had ever seen, there lived a man whose faith would be tested in the most extraordinary way. The palace of King Darius was a place of power and intrigue, where ambitious men constantly sought the favor of the throne. Among all the king's advisors, one man stood above the rest. His name was Daniel, and he had served with wisdom and integrity for many years. King Darius had grown to trust Daniel completely, planning to set him over the entire kingdom because of his exceptional spirit. Daniel was a man of deep faith who cherished the sacred writings of his people and lived by every word. But Daniel's success stirred jealousy in the hearts of other officials who watched his rise with bitter envy. 3 administrators plotted in the shadows, desperate to find some fault in Daniel that would bring about his downfall.
"There must be something,"
they whispered.
"some way to destroy him and take what should be ours."
But Daniel was faithful in everything he did. His only practice that could be used against him was his unwavering devotion to God. 3 times every day, Daniel would kneel before his window facing Jerusalem and pour out his heart in prayer. This was Daniel's sacred rhythm, morning, noon, and evening, giving thanks to the God of his fathers. The jealous officials followed Daniel secretly, watching his every move, searching for the weapon they could use against him. Through his window, they observed Daniel kneeling in prayer, and their wicked plan began to take shape.
"We have found it,"
they said with cruel satisfaction.
"His faithfulness to his God will be his undoing."
The officials approached King Darius with flattery and deception, their trap carefully prepared.
"O king, live forever. Issue a decree that for 30 days, anyone who prays to any god except you shall be thrown into the lion's den."
Flattered by their words and unaware of their true intentions, King Darius signed the decree, making it an unbreakable law of the Medes and Persians. Daniel heard of the decree, understanding immediately what it meant and what he must do. The officials watched eagerly, knowing that Daniel would never abandon his prayers, not even to save his own life. True to his faith, Daniel walked through the palace with quiet dignity, his decision already made in his heart. When Daniel returned home, he opened his window toward Jerusalem, just as he had always done. And there, in full view of anyone watching, Daniel knelt and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. The officials saw everything they needed. Their trap had sprung, and Daniel was caught. They rushed to the palace, barely containing their wicked excitement, ready to deliver their accusation.
"O king,"
they cried,
"Daniel, one of the exiles from Judah, pays no attention to your decree. He still prays 3 times a day."
King Darius was devastated. He suddenly realized he had been tricked into condemning the man he trusted most.
"The law cannot be changed."
The officials reminded him coldly.
"Not even by the king himself."
The king was greatly distressed. How could he save Daniel from the very law he had signed? All day long, until sunset, Darius searched desperately for a way to rescue Daniel, but there was none. The law of the Medes and Persians was absolute. Once decreed, it could not be revoked, not even by the king. At sunset, the officials returned, demanding that the king fulfill his own decree. There was no escape. With a heavy heart, King Darius gave the order. Daniel was arrested and led toward the lion's den. As Daniel passed by, the king reached out to him, overcome with grief and guilt.
"Daniel,"
the king said with tears in his eyes,
"may your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you."
Daniel looked at the king with peace in his eyes.
"Do not be troubled, your majesty. My God is able to save me, and even if he does not, I will serve him still.
The lion's den was a deep pit carved into the rock, where hungry beasts waited for those condemned to die. The sound of growling rose from the darkness below, massive lions who had not been fed, ready to devour. Daniel was lowered into the pit, descending into darkness, surrounded by the eyes of hungry predators. Down, down he went, the light above growing smaller, until he stood at the bottom among the beasts. A great stone was rolled over the opening, sealing Daniel in with the lions. There was no escape now. King Darius pressed his own seal into the clay, making it impossible for anyone to rescue Daniel before morning. The king walked away in anguish, wondering if he would ever see his friend alive again. That night, King Darius could not sleep. He refused food and entertainment, his mind consumed with worry for Daniel. He lay awake in the darkness, haunted by the thought of what might be happening in that terrible pit. But in the lion's den, something miraculous was happening. A light began to fill the darkness, a light not of this world. The hungry lions, who should have torn Daniel apart, lay down peacefully around him like gentle lambs. Daniel sat among them without fear, even reaching out to stroke their mighty manes as they purred. For God had sent his angel to shut the mouths of the lions, protecting his faithful servant through the night. Daniel lifted his hands in prayer, his heart overflowing with gratitude for the God who saves. At the first light of dawn, King Darius could wait no longer. He had to know Daniel's fate. The king ran through the palace corridors, not waiting for his attendants, desperate to reach the pit.
Roll away the stone,
He commanded.
Quickly, open it now.
Darius fell to his knees at the edge of the pit and called down in anguish.
Daniel, has your God been able to save you?
For a moment, silence. Then, from the depths, a familiar voice answered clearly.
O king, live forever. My God sent his angel and shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me.
Joy flooded the king's heart like a rushing river. Daniel was alive. It was a miracle. Daniel was lifted out of the pit, and not a scratch was found on him, because he had trusted in his God. King Darius embraced Daniel.
Your God is the true God indeed.
The soldiers and servants fell to their knees in worship, having witnessed the power of Daniel's God. As for those who had falsely accused Daniel, they were seized immediately to face the justice they had planned for another. They were thrown into the very pit they had prepared for Daniel, and the lions showed them no mercy. Then King Darius issued a new decree to all the peoples of his empire, proclaiming the greatness of Daniel's God. The God of Daniel is the living God, the decree declared. He rescues and saves. He performs signs and wonders in heaven and earth. Throughout the empire, people heard how Daniel's God had delivered him, and many came to believe. Daniel stood beside the king, a testimony to God's faithfulness, blessing all who would listen. And Daniel continued to pray, just as he always had, morning, noon, and evening, now with many others joining him. So Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius, for he trusted in his God, and his faith became a light to all nations.